Welcome back, folks. As I promised yesterday, I'm back to do a response to Rob Walker's video of the other day. He did a very interesting video showing pairs of albums which were released on the very same day and choosing which of the two would be his favourite. So I thought that would be great fun. Decided to do my own twist on it, and being a prog head, I'm doing the prog version of this thread. This is where ideally both, or at least one of the albums in the pair is a prog album. So let's get on. This, by the way, these occupy 5 years, 70 to 74, which is obviously the heyday of prog rock. So let's get on. I've got my notes here with dates, which I've printed far too small, getting old. Right, we start on March the 13th, 1970. And on that day, this album by the great Canterbury band Egg was released. And on the very same day, we had one of Mr. McCook's favourites, Tyrannosaurus Rex with Beard of Stars. This is the 2LP deluxe edition. Now, this was obviously the very last, the fourth studio album by Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the last under that full title before they became T-Rex. This reached number 21 in the UK charts. Egg obviously didn't chart at all, but if I have to go for one, sorry Richard, it's got to be Egg. Magnificent album. The next date is October the 23rd, 1970. And we have these two albums. We have Mr. Zappa with Chunga's Revenge. This was, I think, his third solo album, the first with the ex-Turtles, Flo and Eddie, and this reached number 119 in the US charts, though it did get to 24 in Australia. And on the same day was released Trespass by Genesis. This was the second studio album by Genesis, the last with Anthony Phillips on guitar before Steve Hackett joined. I don't think it charted over here. Didn't see anything about it, though it did reach number 98 in the UK for 1 week in 1984. 14 years after its initial release. However, it did chart at the time in Belgium and got to number 1. So we have Chunga's Revenge versus Trespass. Difficult one, but it has to be Trespass for me. Third up, we have 2nd of January 1971, and we have first up Uriah Heep's Salisbury. This was their second album, got to number 103 in the US, couldn't see a chart placing for it in the UK, but it did get to number 3 in Finland. I knew those Finns had good taste. And on the same day was released the Macdonald and Giles album, self-titled album. Macdonald and Giles obviously having come out of King Crimson. So this was the album they did post King Crimson, the only album they ever did, and I don't think it charted, but a very good album, really like it. But two together has to be Salisbury, particularly for that title track, which is pure prog, brilliant. One of the best uses of orchestra in an extended rock song ever, along with Heart Mother. That's those ones. What have we got next? December the 3rd, 1971. From one end of 1971 to the other. And we have the Electric Light Orchestra with their very first album. This is obviously when Roy Wood was still in the band, the only album he did with the ELO. This is their debut, and it, as I said, it's got to number 32 in the UK and a number 196 in the US. But on the same day was released this album, which is King Crimson's Islands. This is their 4th album, got to number 30 in the UK and number 76 in the US. Again, going one or the other, has to be King Crimson, I think. 5th one, right. And we have Uriah Heep again. The 5th, the date is May the 19th, 1972, and we have Uriah Heep's Demons and Wizards. Probably their most popular album, I would say, one that's usually classed as their best. This one got to number 20 in the UK, 23 in the US, but number 1 in Finland. Told you those Finns knew their stuff. But on the same day was released Caravan's Waterloo Lily. Not universally a popular choice among Caravan fans. Their jazziest album. This is where Steve Miller came into the band on keyboards. But I love this album. Superb title track on it. This obviously again didn't chart. So which do I go for? Very difficult. It's got to be Caravan, Waterloo Lily. Next up we're into 1973 and May the 11th, 1973. And we have, do this one first. On that day was released Wishbone Ash's album 4. Now this was a bit of a different album for Wishbone Ash. It skewed the sort of loose concept and the progginess, probably a bit of progginess of Argus. More back to the basics, I suppose, with this. probably their weakest of the first four albums. This got to number 12 in the UK and 44 in the US. But on the same day was released one of the greatest live albums of all time, Hawkwind's Space Ritual. Absolutely superb album. Now this got to number 9 in the UK, but only 179 in the US. I'm afraid there's no contest here. Winner by far, far, far is Hawkwind's magnificent Space Ritual. Next one, interesting one, because these are from the same label, and we have, give you the date first. This is May the 25th, 1973. And as a lot of people probably know, the very first release on the Virgin label was Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. This is represented for me by the box set. It's the only copy I own of Tubular Bells is in the box set. Mike Oldfield boxed. This obviously got to number 1 in the UK, number 3 in Billboard, but number 1 on Cashbox charts in the US, and has gone platinum 9 times in the UK. Massive, massive seller. But, and I didn't realise this, maybe a lot of people didn't, on the very same day, Virgin released 2 albums. The other one was Gong's Flying Teapot. The first in the Gong's infamous trilogy of albums. Didn't chart. This one didn't chart, but it's a magnificent album. Oh, I'm stuck on this one as to which one to go with. But I think it's got to be Tubular Bells. It's just a timeless classic. However good Flying Teapot is, this just edges it out. Next, the 8th pairing, and we have from September the 21st, 1973, we have German band Faust and their 4th album, Faust 4. Magnificent album, which features the track Krautrock. But on the same day, oh wait a minute, again, no chart position for this one. People don't know good music sometimes. On the same day, we had Gentle Giant with their 5th album, In a Glass House. Another brilliant album from a brilliant band. So, which to go for? This one's a very difficult choice. Well, being a massive krautrock fan, I think I'd just have to go for Faust 4. Brilliant. Penultimate pair from 1973, still, the fourth pairing from 1973, and we have from December the 7th, we have another Gong one. And it's the second album in their trilogy, Angel's Egg. Didn't chart over here, as per usual, but got to number 91 in Australia. Wow. Another superb album. The whole of the trilogy's worth. But it's coming up against the magnificent Tales from Topographic Oceans by Yes. A contentious album now for many, including Mr. Wakeman, who played on it, but this is just an absolute classic. It's got to number 1 in the UK and number 6 in the US. So, being a massive fan of early Yes, I have to give this one to Tales. It's just got to be. And we get to the final pairing, and this is from 1974, March the 1st. Bear with me. And first off, we have Mirage by Camel, their second album, and probably their second best actually, just behind Moon Madness. This, again, unfortunately didn't chart, but is a superb album. It's got things like Lady Fantasy on here and Super Twister, the Procession White Rider, Freefall. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant album. And it was released on the same day as this album, Rush's self-titled debut album, which I've got in this 3LP set, Rush Archives. Now, again, this one didn't chart. Like I said, it was their first one. This was without Neil Peart on drums, and rather than the proggy direction that they went in with subsequent albums, this is very much in that sort of Led Zeppelin hard rock sort of vein. Good album, but doesn't compare with what was to come. So I'm afraid this is quite easy to choose. It's going to be Camel as my choice. So that's my 10 pairs. Hope you found it of interest. Thank you very much, Rob, for putting this together. It was a really interesting exercise to do. I hope some other people jump on this, though they'd have to be quick because I think they'll start running out of albums to show. If it had been albums released in the same month, that would have been easier, as there's hundreds of those where we know the month but we don't know the actual day. So anyway, thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope to see you soon. Take care, have a great week.